I'd screwed up earlier and I had gotten into the wrong live Facebook. So let me set my comments here. Uh, so let's see. There we go. Hey, I'm sorry, guys. I've been trying to figure out how to go live, and the problem I had is you had to download Chrome to go live, and I didn't know how to do that. So that's why the confusion was, because I got some heckling for some guys on there. Said just simply hit the live button and you go live, but it wasn't that easy because you can't go live on Internet Explorer. So I had to download Chrome. So I've got a ton of picks, a ton of questions here. Got some guys on there. Nick Carter, JBL, how are you? I'm doing good, guys, man. I'm good, having a lot of fun. Trying to figure out, let's see, go down here on the thing. Any questions out there? Because I got some here. Somebody asked me, am I going to take the vaccine? Absolutely, I'm going to take the vaccine. Yes, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I think it's great that the vaccine's going to be out. Also, somebody asked me, your best rib. So I'll tell you what was a pretty good rib on Big Show one time. You asked, why would you rib Big Show? Because, well, he's the one guy that would kill you. So I love Big Show. But we were in Europe one time, and it wasn't England. I can't remember where it was. I think it may have been Germany. And I'm in the ring with Kurt Angle, and I'm waiting on Big Show. And right in the middle of his entrance, the music stops, and it's, hey, now, you're an all-star. And it's Shrek's theme music. So we'd given Big Show heck about being Shrek, when Shrek came out. Hey, congratulations on your biography, Shrek. And so I'm in the ring with Kurt Angle. And Kurt Angle said, what is that? I said, that's Shrek's theme music. Kurt says, oh my God, he's going to kill us. I said, yeah, he's going to kill us. Now, I'm in the ring, so obviously I'm not the one playing it. Somebody else, I may have been in on it, but somebody else was playing it. Big Show starts sprinting to the ring to kill me and Kurt Angle. And I said, Kurt, listen, it's my fault. I'll take all responsibility for this. Don't worry about it. I'll take the blame. So Big Show slides in the ring, fire in his eyes. He comes at us, and I said, Show, I swear to God, Kurt Angle did every bit of it. I had nothing to do with it. I jumped out of the ring, then Kurt jumped out of the ring, and unfortunately, Big Show caught me later and beat me up, as he usually did. Somebody from the Philippines, Charlotte Fizrosa, thank you very much. Thanks for joining me. I'm not sure how to do all this, so I got some questions here. Somebody asked me, let's see, the live icon is right there, Justin Wisner. Justin, I finally figured it out, so thank you for heckling me. Tribute to the Troops coming up. Somebody asked me about me and Bart Gunn. Are we still friends? Yeah, absolutely. Bart Gunn and I were friends before the Brawl For All. Bart won the Brawl For All. He knocked me silly. Nobody knew Bart could hit like that. When they came up with the idea of the Brawl For All, they called me on a Thursday. Bruce Pritchard, called me on a Thursday and said, do you want to be in a shoot fight on Monday? And I said, why would I be in a shoot fight on Monday? And he said, because we got this Brawl For All. And I said, why are you doing this? Dr. Death, everybody assumed would just win it. Doc was one of the toughest guys in the business. He was like Haku. But Doc had a lot of injuries. This was Doc 10 years later than his prime. And I said, Doc's not going to win this. You know that, right? And Bruce said, that's fine. I said, you're going to put me in there against Henry Godwin, aren't you? And he said, no, we're not. It's a blind draw. I said, Bruce, it's not a blind draw. I said, are Shamrock and Severn in it? And he said, yeah. I said, well, would you at least put me in the second round where I face one of those guys so I have a chance of winning one? He goes, John, it's a blind draw. He said, you'll face whoever you face. I said, I guarantee it's Henry Godwin. Because they wanted to see the two big cowboy hillbilly beat each other up. I get there on Monday. And Bruce, to this day, says it was a blind draw. I'm facing Henry Godwin in the first fight. And just saw Henry today, one of my best friends. Always has been. And to answer your question about Bart, Bart was a good friend of mine before. He's a good friend of mine after. Bart was hit a lot harder than I could take. In fact, before the fight, Godfather called me and said, you have no idea how hard Bart Gunn hits. I said, come on, he can't hit that hard. He did hit that hard. So I got Franklin the Hayes. Any good Haku stories? Yeah, he put a bunch of guys to sleep in a bar one night. They put every one of them. They said it was surgical precision. Haku was the guy. I'm the guy. So when we invaded Norfolk, when we went over and invaded WCW, we thought they were going to come back and maybe invade us. We didn't know. So we had a bunch of guys kind of around, just kind of waiting. I don't know what would have happened. I don't know if it would have been a fight or what would have happened. But we just were laughing and said, what if they send Haku? We're going to send out Shamrock. And this will be the greatest fight in the history of the world. That's the kind of reputation that Haku had. Tons of questions here. Next stories with Briscoe from Steven Sacco. Thanks, Steven. We're going to come back next week because Briscoe is down in NXT right now helping out there. And we hope to get Terry Funk on. Terry Funk and Jerry are good friends. I tag team with Terry. In fact, one of the few times that I ever got real heat in the state of Texas was when I came back after turning on Terry Funk, and a guard in the airport looked at me and goes, that was wrong. There was real heat. I mean, Terry's a legend. So we're hoping to get Terry on next week to tell some stories about different things. Somebody asked me, Ian James asked me, how's the pandemic affected your charity work? Thanks for the question. Working with a wonderful group in Memphis Center City Rugby. That is, the pandemic has really hurt inner cities. And the reason it's hurt inner cities is because when you go to remote learning, these kids in inner cities, they're in very low income, poverty areas. And they don't have computers, they don't have Wi-Fi, and so they don't have access to school. And it's awful. It's a terrible thing. And so we've switched in Memphis. It's a person named Shane Young there, done incredible work. I'm just on the board. I don't take credit for it. They switched to remote learning. Teach for America gave us a classroom. Mike Novogratz, the incredible philanthropic billionaire Bitcoin guy who helped fund Beat the Streets and so many different things. He's a wonderful guy, big in criminal justice, gave us money for computers. So we're making sure that those kids in Memphis have access to remote learning so that they don't lose out on being at school just because of the zip code that they're in. Tons of questions here. Let me see. First meet Ron Simmons just in wrestling. Ron Simmons and I were friends since the day we first met. Best friends. Still are. Let's see. What else is in here? Oh, I asked if Mark Henry how he would do, because I just don't Busted Open with Mark Henry, how he would do against today's world strongman. He won it twice. And Mark's one of the legitimately strongest guys of all time. I guess Savickas is considered by some to be the biggest. I remember Kazmaier. We've had a lot of strong guys in wrestling. Patera was world-class strength. Ted Arcidi, who benched, I think the first bench 700, bench 705, was in the business. You had a lot of super. John Cena is actually really close to world-class strength. I mean, it's quite incredible. Other questions. Worst botch move. Ron Simmons in Superplex one time. It just happens. The ropes get slippery. You got to be careful climbing the ropes, say, later in the night. Now they make sure to wash them all off. When the guys used to wear all the baby oil to make themselves look better under the lights, the ropes would get really slippery, and you would end up falling off the rope. So whenever I went to the top rope, which wasn't very often, I would stand on the turnbuckle instead of the rope because you knew you had good footing. Ron once fell off the middle rope or the top rope to the floor when he slipped on what was probably some baby oil on the ropes. Could have got really hurt. More questions. Working with Dutch from Richard Jones. Richard, Dutch was probably the funniest storyteller I've ever been around. One of the funniest guys I've ever been around. He's a wonderful human being. Dutch would sit there and just make up stories for hours of a road trip. I always drove. Dutch and I figured one time I drove about 50-something thousand miles one year. Dutch drove 38. Not 38,000, 38 miles. He drove once from Yeehaw Junction to Orlando. And so he goes, sit over there and drink beer and listen to your country music. So I sat over there, drinking a few beers, listening to country music. Dutch is driving so slow because he didn't want me to have him ever drive again. So finally we get there. He gets to a payphone, and busy intersection, and he's going to call home and check in, way before cell phones. So I go up behind him and I pants him. He had Zubas on, and he had red and white striped briefs on, and those hairy legs sticking out. guys were driving by and honking. And I had his pants down, and I stepped on him where he couldn't move, and he's on the phone. I drove him after that. I love Dutch. Dutch is a good guy. I'd love to see Dutch again. He called me the other day and said, hey, I want you to be on my podcast. This was on a Monday or Tuesday. I said, Dutch, anything you want, I'll do. And that's true. I love Dutch that much. And Dutch said, okay. Then he never called me again. So I don't know. We're driving one time up in Pennsylvania, and Tom Pritchard was the worst driver in the history of the automobile, by far. There's no comparison. And it's foggy. And Tom's driving about 80 miles an hour. And I thought, well, I guess he could see. I'm in the passenger seat. I couldn't see anything. Tom finally looks at me and goes, I can't see a thing. I said, why are you driving so fast? He hits a ditch because he's driven off the road, and he blows out the front tire. So we're sitting there hoping a truck doesn't come hit us. We got back on the road, trying to change this tire. And I've got the little toy jack, and I've got the thing jacked up. And I'm telling these guys, Dutch and Tom, are sitting there with lug nuts, and they're going, they're stripped. What do you mean they're stripped? He said, they're stripped. I said, oh, geez, we're stuck out here. Way before cell phones. We're stuck in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania. Fog like crazy. You can't see 40, 50 feet in front of you. And finally, I look around, and I said, the lug nuts are stripped, right, guys? They said, yeah. I said, if you take off the hubcap, you get to the lug nuts. They'd worked for 15 minutes on the plastic lug nuts on the hubcap. Dutch told me, he goes, whatever you do, man. He goes, don't tell anybody that. So if you're out there, don't tell anybody that story, because Dutch doesn't want to repeat it. He's just the opposite of a good pit crew. He and Tom Pritchard, who I love both. More questions. Let's see. Greatest wrestling memory? I don't know. I would think, performing in Iraq and Afghanistan was obviously way, way high up on the list. Headlining WrestleMania, I don't know if anything could ever top that. Going out there against Cena, I think it was WrestleMania 21. What a wonderful, incredible experience. Somebody asked, memories working with Jim Cornette. I love Jim Cornette. Jim's Jim. He's, it's not a bad thing. Jim's crazy. We're all crazy. Jim's a good guy, and he's always been good to me. He told me one time, this is Jim Cornette, he said, hey, when you come back, he said, I'm going to book you in Smoky Mountain. Well, Smoky Mountain folded, unfortunately. So Jim's always, when he talks to me, he goes, hey, I got that booking for you in Smoky Mountain. So it's our little show. Jim's a smart guy. Obviously great with the gift of gab. And I like Jim. See. Thank you for taking time, Paul Moore. Thank you very much. Marcelo Ragnarok. Why are you returned to wrestling? I guess that's when, probably. I don't think I can. If I could, I would. I retired not because I wanted to. I retired because I had to. I had injuries, and my body just gave out on me. I'm 54, and I'm training like crazy right now. I would love to get back in the ring and do something, but I just don't know if my body would let me. If it would, I'd do it in a heartbeat. My wrestling career stopped not because I wanted it to, but because my body gave out. So I would go back in a heartbeat. These guys do a wonderful job these days, by the way. I know somebody's going to ask me that question. I don't think I can keep up with them, but maybe I could do something. Let's say when you started your career, you think you'd be a big star. I don't know. You get in there to try to be champion, so you got to have goals. Somebody, John Nardi Jr. asked me, John Anthony Nardi Jr. asked me, how insane was ECW One Night Stand? I didn't get ECW, okay? And I mean get it as an understanding, the passion behind ECW, because we're traveling, we're working 52 weeks a year. We didn't watch anything, really. You get to a hotel late, you go to bed, you get up early, you train, you go to the next town, or go get into town late, you get up, train, and go to the arena. So I never really saw ECW. Not because I didn't want to, but because we were working every night. That passion of that crowd, I've never felt anything like that. I've been in some crazy, crazy arenas, some crazy, passionate arenas. That crowd was awesome. They told me, by the way, they said, don't walk through the crowd. We can't guarantee your safety. So, of course, I walked through the crowd. I thought if I get mugged or beat up or whatever it is, this is going to be great television. It was awesome. I loved being a heel there. I loved those fans. I loved everything about it. I understand after being there for one night stand how great ECW was. It's just fantastic. I think NXT is kind of like that now. I think the passion that people feel, going to some of these NXT takeover shows, you feel that same type of passion, and they feel fans feel like they belong, which is what they do. You want them to feel that way, and they are part of the show. And I think NXT is very similar to ECW that way. I could work in front of crowds like that every single day. So a couple more. Let's see. Me and Barry Windham from Christopher. I missed the name because it went up. Barry and I are good friends. I haven't talked to Barry in a long time. I follow him on Facebook. He follows me. We like each other's stuff. I'd love to see Barry. I'd love to get him on stories with Briscoe and Bradshaw. And I think Barry would be awesome. Barry was one of the best workers of all time. People that never saw Barry when he was in NWA in the Carolinas, man, that guy was special. I mean, there's only one guy. I tell you who's very similar to him is Randy Orton. Randy has that smooth style of a Barry Windham. Randy's dad, Bob Orton, I tagged with Bob in Japan. My first trip over there was an incredible worker. Randy is more like Barry, just smooth. I mean, just God-given talent. One or two more, and then I think Baron Corbin could pull off the clothesline from hell. Yeah, I tried to teach it to him one time. I like Baron a lot. I think Baron is a terrific, smart guy. He's going to do well in his business. I learned the clothesline from hell over say 5 weeks in Japan. And I first used a lariat like Barry Windham. And when I got to Japan, they said, we don't like that lariat. Use something else. And I said, well, keep trying it. Try to like stand. Stand just knock people's heads off. And I thought, well, I can't really do that because nobody will want to work with me. Stand with stands. Stand just do whatever you want. So I finally remembered how Terry Gordy threw a clothesline. So if you look at how Gordy threw one with a wraparound, that's kind of how I threw one. But I developed that run into the guy and launched myself into the guy with that same wraparound like Terry Gordy. So, yeah, could Baron do it? Baron can do a lot of things. Baron's a great athlete, and he's a smart guy. I think he could do it well. Let's see. Which finisher do you wish you had? I like the clothesline. I'm happy with it. And everybody throws one very hard. And finally, Eric Elizardo says, how do you feel about your Cowboys this season? My Cowboys are beyond bad. They couldn't win either side of an intra-squad scrimmage. I've never seen football so bad in Dallas. It's shocking. I'm a lifelong Cowboy fan. I don't hate the other NFC East teams like a lot of people do, but I love my Cowboys, and they're just awful. So sad to see that. But, it's not just Dak Prescott being gone. They just don't have a very good team. It's just not very good. So, one more, if I can find one. Ever wrestle with the Macho Man? No, I didn't. I wish I had. Randy was always in a different territory than me. If I was wherever I was, he was somewhere else. Now I did get to wrestle a lot with Roddy Piper, either as a referee or as manager or something like that. I don't know if I wrestled just against Roddy. Roddy was one of my idols and one of my dear friends. Roddy used to always tell me, you and I, kid, we're the last two heels. Roddy was such a good dude. Guys, listen, hey, thanks for joining me. I'm not sure exactly what all I did here, but I thank you for joining me, and thanks for liking the Facebook page. I have a lot of fun putting out what I think are funny videos, or anyway, just having a good time. I'm an old man now and enjoying life, and still love this business. So thank you very much for joining me. Let's see if there's any up and coming stocks to invest in. Yeah, nobody's asked me a stock question. So look, I love Disney. I think it's had too big of a run up here at 175 to probably get into it here. Maybe be able to get it in a little cheaper. I love CVS. CVS is going to distribute the vaccines, and because of that, you're going to have millions of people going into these stores. I think they'll probably get a little money on the back end from the government. So I've been looking to try to find that, and I can't find if they are or not. But either way, they're going to really benefit from this vaccine and all the increased traffic. And General Motors. General Motors, to me, is a double in the next, say, 3 years because of getting into the EV business. So, well, anyway, guys, hey, thank you very much for joining me. Love you guys. I have a lot of fun interacting on Facebook and everywhere else, and this is a lot of fun to me. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Have a wonderful day. Hopefully, I'll do this again soon, or night, wherever you are, depending on where you are in the world. I got a bunch of people from Pakistan that follow me for some reason, which is great. Egypt has a huge following, percentage-wise, on the page. So it's weird where you get these incredible followings. I was in Egypt one time and went outside and it just mobbed. I didn't know our TV was so strong there. A lot of great fans. Wonderful country. Guys, thanks very much for joining me. Love you guys. Send me messages, send me whatever you want, and we'll do it again. Have a great night and a happy holiday season.